Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to Season 3 of the Mindshare Podcast. Additional podcasts are available at mindshare101.com and on all the major podcast platforms. This week's episode is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems and the Buzz Conference. Now, make sure you connect with the Buzz Conference by visiting their website, www.thebuzzconference.com, and by following them on Instagram at the Buzz Conference to get your tickets for Recharge 2022, taking place on January 13th at the Mississauga Living Arts Center. This is going to be another loaded event, and you are not going to want to miss it. In fact, be sure to keep tabs on all the awesome events they host, along with getting the latest copy of the Buzz Digital Magazine. The Buzz Conference is a leading voice in our real estate industry. And when was the last time you checked out the Kit's Cross-Channel Marketing Suite? This is your full-on marketing tool set, starting with Loop CRM, a CRM that is built for realtors by realtors, which is going to help keep you organized. It then has the most personalized and effective direct mail newsletters. It's got email newsletters, websites, social media content, our super easy 3-click landing pages, complete with automated action plans, and so much more to help you manage your business, generate more leads and more referrals, and build that mindshare to drive even more sales. You can learn more on my site, mindshare101.com, by clicking on Marketing. And as you know, we are on a push to get to 100 reviews on iTunes, and it is going amazing. And so I would like to ask you, if you haven't yet, please take 2 minutes to rate the show and leave a review. And we're making this super easy for you. We have a brand new link, and all you have to do is go to ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. So again, it's ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. It's so easy to leave a review right there. And of course, as always, thank you in advance. Today's episode is number 158. She joined Exit Realty in 1997 within months of its launch as a district owner selling franchises in Ontario. Her entrepreneurial drive, along with the background in land development and business management, were the precursors to her becoming vice president, Canadian districts, and thereafter president of the Canadian division for Exit in 2001, and most recently, the CEO for Canada. Under her leadership, the Canadian division now has many real estate brokerages that are production leaders in their community. She strategically coaches Canadian regional owners and franchisees for their optimal success. She conducts her dynamic 60 Minutes with Exit speaking engagements across the country, as well as workshops focused on recruiting, mindset, and goal setting. She has been recognized as one of the 100 most influential women in real estate by industry trend watcher Stefan Swanepoel. She's the recipient of many prestigious Exit Awards, including the Chairman Award, Award of Expertise, Leaders Leader Award, Trusted Advisor Award, and Icon Award. This week on the show, I am joined by CEO of Canada for Exit Realty Corp International, Joyce Paron. Joyce, welcome to the Mindshare Podcast.
David, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much. It's just such a privilege to be here with you today.
It absolutely is. And I want to thank you as well for making the time for us today. And I know you're a very busy person, but I know that you're going to have some amazing stuff to share with our audience as well. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you. And again, thank you as well.
Pleasure is all mine.
I'm going to open right up and sort of go there. And we were just talking before we went on air, and we were talking about, just kind of what's going on out there and the mindsets that we need to have and what we need to be doing to excel no matter what's happening. And I know through doing my own digging, you speak a lot on mindset and leadership and just helping people and growing. But I want to open up and ask you this. How would you define a realtor's role in the process of home buying and selling? And I know that sounds to some people that just heard that, they're like, well, what do you mean? Of course. But then other people go, no. There's some definitions to this that we all need to understand so we know exactly what it is we're supposed to be doing. What would you say to that?
Well, yeah, that's a very good question. Some people just define it, I guess, kind of almost scientifically when we say an agent is a catalyst, right, between two parties. And I think very much about that is what's at the core of it. And I always approach it from the point of view of what we call servant leadership, as we're here to serve, to help people through the most challenging experience for most of them that they have in a lifetime. And they often go through it a few times in a lifetime, right?
Yeah.
Really. And we all know it's the biggest asset most of them are ever going to own. For the majority of Canadians, that asset represents their retirement funding, their whole financial wherewithal. So when you say, is this a big responsibility? It's huge. Do real estate agents get paid the great remuneration they do because of the value of what they bring to customers and clients? Absolutely. What a beautiful industry, but truly being of service, with the whole mindset of bringing, I always say, peace of mind, right?
Yeah.
Peace of mind to who you're working with.
That's a great way to put it, because I think oftentimes, I guess there's a misconception there. We've got a big part of the population of realtors that says, well, I just love real estate, so I just want to, I want to go buy and sell. And we've said for years as coaches and trainers, but you're not actually buying and selling. You're helping people buy and sell, right? And then it's that whole thing of like, what are we really marketing? Well, you're marketing you. Mm-hmm. You're trying to get people to believe in you and trust in you to help them do exactly that, right? Is go through the biggest asset.
That's it, right on the money. Is they're looking for someone that they can trust. It's going to bring them through this process in a way that brings total peace of mind for them and their family, or they're going to experience the best possible financial benefit of doing it. And, I'm always sharing with our own real estate agents this, is that a lot of the public out there, even if they've used a realtor in the past, a lot of times it's been so long since they've used that person.
Right.
And I know you must teach this all the time because a lot of realtors don't keep in touch. So,
don't get, yes, you had a whole bunch of people that just said, oh, you're going to get David spinning on that one now, eh?
David, this is why I love what you do. This is at the whole core of it, is that there's such an opportunity out there to help people. They're looking for the help. And the question is, are you there where they're looking and when they're looking? Right? I mean, that's really part of it, isn't it?
Oh, this is what we call building mind share, right? And I mean, but that's really what it is. I mean, I ask the question all the time, all sincerely. And many people have heard me ask the question, but why you?
Yes.
Right? Why you? And you just said it. I might have bought or sold, however long ago. Mm-hmm. The reality is, in between that time, I don't even know when the next time I'm going to do it is. So am I thinking about my realtor? No. Yeah. Do you want me to be thinking about you? Of course. Yes. So what are you doing to get me to think about you? Right. And it may be one of those. And I mean, we've heard people before say, well, if they haven't done anything with you in the past 2 years, just take them off your list. Like, who cares? And I'm thinking, no. We don't move every 2 years. This is not milk and eggs. Right? This is that thing that says, like, you've got to be there and be there and be there and show people where you're bringing value, whether it's got anything to do with actually helping them buy or sell.
Yes.
Or just anything at all. I mean, we know this term, trusted advisor status, right?
Yeah.
So tell me this then. So do you feel that our realtors should be actively involved in the community, engaged with their community? And if yes, like, why and maybe what could they be doing?
Oh my gosh, what a big loaded question. Everything you're doing. What you've just said is just so on the money. I mean, just this whole intro here. I just got to digress to this one point, because I remember reading it. The National Association of Realtors put out a stat, I believe it was last year. And I had to read it 3 times because it said 75% of all sellers said that they went with the first agent that they had an appointment with. And I had to read that again. And then I had to read that again. And I said to myself, even if it was 50%, like, seriously, just even back down from that. What does that tell you that you have to be doing? You've got to be talking to people. Yeah. And this really transitions into the community, to be out there meeting people and not just meeting them, but building a relationship. And I would even say, even the people building a more profound, I'm going to use that word, profound, meaningful relationship than you've ever even had with the existing people that you know. And I know this terrifies people when I say this, because they equate talking with people and listening to socializing, and that socializing isn't selling. Okay. Like there's kind of this thread that goes to it, isn't it?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
No, but isn't that true?
Oh, I'll tell you. We were running a training program a few years back where we had done some polling, and we had asked people based on a certain questionnaire and the way the whole thing was all gamified. But we basically said to people, what do you do? What do you love doing to get business? What do you hate doing to get business? What brings you in the most business? Mm-hmm. And naturally, everybody, just hated doing the door knocking, the cold calling.
Yeah.
Everybody loves just schmoozing with people. Yeah. And nobody really likes to give away free value. And I said, well, if you like talking to people, what is it that you're providing to them then?
Yes.
And that whole thing of free value and seminars, nobody likes that either. Yet when you come back to it and you say, well, where are you getting the most of your business from? It's from schmoozing with people. It's talking to people. It's just conversing with people.
Yeah.
Right. Because look, that's where, and of course, this, that's where the likability comes from.
Yes.
Or maybe the unlikability, right? but right. Like, we're going to make a determination there. But it's we're going to figure out whether we do like you. So we now know you. We're going to figure out if we like you. And if we like you, you're now going to have an opportunity to build the trust with me. Right. And when we come back to 75% of people, which is a amazing that
it's mind blowing.
Yeah. Like for the first people, they're not even doing the distance to go and talk to other people, which also says to us, there's an opportunity. Build the mind share.
How do you get in front of them?
Yeah, there it is.
Four of them. How many, okay, so if I said to you, with everything that you do, okay, calling every single week, is there an optimal amount of calls to be making a week? Like seriously, just to break the bread of talking to people.
Yeah.
Right? Because what that stat says to me is you've got to be having more conversations. You're just not having enough conversations, right? How are you getting in front of them?
This is our premise of building mindshare. This is where we teach about the two audiences and the 7 ways to communicate. And we right now with all of our clients are going through their business planning and goal setting for 2022 and naturally marketing plans in place. And that balance between the people we know and the people we don't know. Oftentimes we see a cost being spent is much higher on the people we don't know because we're trying to bring in more and generate more leads. Yet when we look at the numbers, we go, but it's people that's delivering the business. So if it's people know, what we need to look at is say, how do we talk to those people? Yeah. And the conversation comes up a lot of, well, I really don't want to email them that often because I don't want to do too much. And I don't want to do too much social media because, I don't want to do too much. And I'm thinking, you're going to get lost. Like nobody's going to remember you at this point.
That's right.
Because we as marketers as well, we are putting so much noise out there on a daily basis. You got to break through that noise.
You got to be in front of me when I'm ready. Right? Like that really is that top of mind conversation. Like you got to be in front of me when I'm ready because you just hit on that point of the drip campaigns, whatever you're doing, getting in front of people is because if I said to you, who are you more likely to do business with? Somebody, even though you sold your house with them or bought through them, 5 years ago, but you've only talked to them or seen them once a year, or somebody that's dripping on you once a month, is making a phone call once every 2 months. I've even said to our people, I say, even if you're looking for an excuse to make a phone call, just pick up the phone. Hi, it's Joyce calling with your 1 minute real estate update. And yes, David, it's great to hear your voice. I've only got a minute to share with you and then a few seconds of chat because I got to get on the next call. But I just want to hear your voice. And I've got this exciting news to tell you. Would you like to hear it? About what's going on in the market. There's so many quick, easy ways to just engage with the people and don't feel like you've got to get into an hour conversation with them.
Oh, absolutely. I've told people too, like, Joyce, is David, 20-second business call. Can I get 20 seconds? David, go. Yes. And as long as I take less than 20, the next time I do that, you're going to say, sure, go.
Yes, that's it.
It's keeping the line open, right? So I was going to ask you then, what do you feel is an effective way for our realtors to be showing leadership and to become a go-to resource? Does it all just boil back to communication or what else can we add to that?
Well, I think the communication's number one. I think that no matter what stats you're looking at, right across North America, still to this day, and I'm hoping for a day it's going to change, but the number one thing that the buyers and sellers say out there repeatedly is their number one complaint is either not being able to reach their realtor or get the communication that they require to feel what? Comfortable. To feel safe, to feel like they're getting looked after, to know that you're still thinking of me. David, are you still thinking of me? Like,
right.
This is, when you're the homeowner, because it's really hard to take off your salesperson hat and put on that homeowner perspective. And I've heard salespeople where they get, quite annoyed about how often they have to interact. And I keep reminding them that, well, this is the job. Like, this is what we're here to be of service. And certainly you can pre-frame conversations and how it's going to go, but they still need to hear from you. And there's nothing better than the way they want to hear from you. And as you well know, for some people, it is the phone call. For other people, they just want the text. Right.
But Joyce, I don't know what to say. And I don't know if they want to hear from me.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, right now, if I'm selling my house with you, I do want to hear from you.
That's a great point. Well, that comes right back to what you said, communication.
That's it.
It's good. You have to communicate.
Yeah.
Right? And who was it? Bob Proctor. Your money's in the follow-up. I think the quote goes exactly like your money is in your follow-up.
That's the line right there.
Right.
It's everything. Your money's in your CRM. There's a wealth of money in your CRM. All of this is about the relationship building. And I'm going to use a word, I think, because we're saying it but not saying it. And for me, it is the number one word in all of doing the day-to-day with real estate, and that's consistency.
Ooh, wow, you are talking my language here today. Yeah. I love it.
It's a consistency. So what do they want? What does anybody want to hear from me? Great news about what's going on in real estate in my neck of the woods. Like, if you know your marketplace, you know who you're talking to. Like, I want to hear, right? I want to know, like, well, is it going up? Is there much stuff selling? What are the trends? What are you expecting in the future? Right. And all I just want to do is hear about, because this is the most important asset that I own. Like, this is of great importance to me. Yeah. Okay. So what's happening in the marketplace with real estate is always of value to anybody that owns a home, even if they're not thinking of selling right now. That's so true, isn't it?
I agree with that. And I'm going to add on to that and say that the homeowner, right, the consumer, they don't know what they don't know. Yeah. And they certainly don't know what we know. And when they haven't got, like, back to what I said before, I bought, 7-8 years ago. I'm not thinking of doing anything right now. I'm not really thinking real estate. Now, depending on who you are and how you dabble in your day to day, you might have some investments. You might be paying attention to that stuff. But as the regular, again, homeowner consumer, they're getting up, they're going to work, they're doing what they got to do with the family, sports, whatever it be. And then they're doing it all over again tomorrow. They're not necessarily keeping their finger on the pulse the same way we are. So there's some value right there to be able to add on. Never mind just the fact of, again, building the relationship, which again brings us back to that whole trusted advisor status. Consistency, right? I say it all the time. Consistency, the magic ingredient to achieving anything you want in life.
Hey, this is the whole concept, and I'm sure this at the core of what you do is your business plan. What's your routine every day? When you get up in the morning, what's the plan for that day? And I've actually asked our agents at times. I said, just put on those yellow sticky notes. I said, consistency on that in big black marker. Put it up on your screen right in front of you. Because that's a point of focus then. Am I doing what I said I was going to do to who? To myself. Mm-hmm. Right? Forget about anybody else. Like, what did I commit to for me? My gosh, this is so exciting. Like I'm so excited about all this stuff. This is where I live. And I
love it.
As you can tell. Yeah. And here we are, David, December. We're in December. This is December and January. Like 1st of 2022. This is like a George Jetson moment. 2022.
We have definitely been living in the Jetson times. That's for sure.
I never thought I'd hear these years, and what are you going to do differently in 2022?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Well,
if you even thought about it, right? Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's that routine. Because when we
Yes.
look at how busy we all are, and again, this will go right back to, backwards a few steps here in our conversation about why is the follow-up not happening? Why are the phone calls not happening? Why are the relationships not being built? Why are we thinking more transactionally than we are relationally? And it all comes down to many of us, and probably in large part due to these funny little things, is we really feel overwhelmed. We feel like there's so much to tackle in a day that we look at some of those activities as non-income producing, as a pain in the butt. Reality says that those are your IPAs, those are your income producing activities. And when you schedule them consistently in that schedule on, a 5-day-a-week basis, let's call it, things are going to change for you. You're going to achieve more than you did. And it's the way we learn to ride a bike. It's the way we learn to swim. It's the way we learn to do everything else we do in life. Now you can consistently do bad habits and you'll get other results. You do good habits and you'll get good results, right?
Yeah.
Now, as you bring up the Jetsons, I find it funny because I use that all the time in terms of just where we've gone and to think back to the Jetsons and like, what else could we look at from that cartoon and learn from George and the fam about where we're going? I mean, look at us right now on this call. But outside of that, what did we as an industry learn about the market, about consumers over this past 21 months? And what's the positive that came out of all of this for everybody?
Oh gosh, so many. I mean, and I know there's also been a lot of heartache on the other side for a lot of industries. And
you know what? That's a great point to bring that up. Yes,
it just is. But I know you and I were talking about this before. We've been so blessed to be in this industry and the opportunity here, and yet there's been challenges here as well with at the level of having to work with multiple offers. Oh my
God, absolutely, sure. Why buying agents are okay? They're not frustrated, are they?
No, not at all. But at the core of it, I think what we have found out is the real value of just being a human being and what it means to be a human being. We're at the core, and that we're all the same. And when we're all reduced to this place of whether it's been having to stay at home, right? Look at the four walls all day. And I think it's brought really to the forefront. We've all felt this, the issues with mental illness. And I actually think that's a good thing that this has happened, right? That we're being in a place now we can have conversations about things we never had conversations about before. We're really understanding the value more and more of our time, of our family, of the time we have with our family, about the quality of time. There's just so many great things that have come out of, I think, this experience on, we say the silver lining to everything, right? Like just so many wonderful things. And what I think it's, then you tell me if you feel this is, as well with everyone you've been dealing with, is this place of introspection, like insight at a level I've never heard people talk the way they're talking, this last year and a half now about themselves and really looking inward. What makes me happy? What is it I really want to be doing? How do I want to do things differently so I can really move towards something that just feels better for me, feels better for my family, find my joy through everything that I do? How do I bring more of my joy into what I do, right? And how the heck can I get away for a trip? I mean, we're all...
Yeah, I think that's on everybody's mind right now, is trying to get away on vacations. And, I think as of yesterday, they made that a lot harder for many people. But it's, I think there has been a lot of introspect. I think that there has been a lot of looking deep inside to really understand and even ask yourself, who am I?
Yeah.
How do I operate? What am I doing? It. Where am I right now? I mean, and you brought this up, and thank you for bringing it up. There's a lot of people that have been going through a lot of bad. I mean, on the overall, there's been a major, major societal shift for everybody. But there's many people from businesses that haven't been able to cope, maybe due to, mandates or just their own, situations. There are people as individuals who have had, very tough times. And I would say that mental health is very near and dear to my heart in terms of just the topic itself. It is so real. And we in society have made a big deal about that once a year for the past number of years.
That's it.
Here we are though now, and it's becoming, a 365 day, a year topic.
Yes.
And the unfortunate part is because of what's happened. And I mean, look, this goes into the depths of the mind and into the depths of, why do people suffer from depression and ruminating and the way we're processing, all the neuroscience behind how you and I tick, right? But I mean, hey, to anybody, and I'll take an opportunity right now to say this, but to anybody who's been suffering by yourself, going through thoughts that maybe you wonder why you're thinking about them. A big part of this is in large part to the fact that we are not out there socially as we used to be, which gets us locked into this a lot more without that relief. And then we go and all jokes aside, we find the relief here.
Yeah.
But it's not as much of a relief as we're looking for, because now all of a sudden we see something there and we think to ourselves, that wasn't good. Or, oh, look how good they're doing. I don't feel like that. Why are they getting all the success? And now you starts to close in even more. And so it's been a dangerous moment for many. But look, I love using this platform because for everybody listening and everybody tuned into this, either live or on the recording, please know that if you are in that space, you're not alone. There are many, many other people, dealing with it. And it's not that that's going to be a solution for you, but back to what we said before, communicate. And I'll tell you, my lines are always open. You want to talk about that stuff, I always open the door for that because I think it's huge. We know people suffer in silence.
Yes.
And we know that, again, because of what's been going on with all the isolation, many people have really suffered hard.
You've got to reach out and ask for help. You've got to reach out and ask for help. And, I say this even at the point outside of real estate, but it's the same in real estate, right? Like if you're in the industry right now, and you haven't had the year you thought you wanted to have, or didn't go the way you want to go, what an opportunity right now to do a reset.
Yeah.
Like we're right. And it's just the perfect timing of the year to do a reset, isn't it?
It really is.
It's hopeful. There's something to look forward to. That January 1st, it's just around the corner, the spring market taking off. There's so much ahead of us and it's so close. Like we're not a year away, we're months away.
Right. I love the way you're painting the excitement here.
But isn't it? I mean, we don't know when that spring market's really going to hit, but it could hit earlier because it has done so earlier than we've been expecting.
Well, let me ask you that. Do you think the market will keep up at this pace in 2022? It's a thought. Is it not to hold you to it? I know nobody really knows, but
hold on while I go and get my crystal ball.
The magic 8-ball, you shake it and you see what it says.
We'll do that whole thing. I have no indication whatsoever right now of anything but the market continuing.
Yeah.
Right into the new year. How we finish off 2022, I think is the indicators are all very solid. You know what? I got to share this with you.
Go for it.
And this might be a little mind-blowing in a way, but way back, so I'm just going to go backwards to go forwards here. Way back in around 2008, when the big recession hit in the U.S., we were getting a waffling here in Canada. And I was out doing speaking engagements in Canada. And there was so much fear and trepidation about, like, is this going to happen here? Like, is this going on here? We actually had about 3 months there where our market slowed right down. And it was just because of consumer confidence, right? I mean, everybody was watching what was happening there. But what we just end up with such a transition coming out of all this, talking about it. And one of the things I did at that time, because I said, okay, what is really going to go on here? Now, this is back in 2008. So what's really going to happen here in Ontario, in Atlantic Canada, right across Canada? And I started studying everything I could. Okay. So at that time we had Mark Carney, who was still in charge at the Bank of Canada.
Yep.
And he was just, that following him was amazing. Like he was on the money for every prediction he was saying. But I was looking at the economic development associations, all of these different platforms where they're doing forecasting for the future. Okay. For the economy, for the population. And they had in 2008, they had already extrapolated out to 2050 for the growth in Ontario and Canada. 2050. They saw it already at that time as this steady, rising, consistent growth, even based on the measurements they had now. And yet now we're even bringing in more immigration and opening up the door larger than what they were even forecasting back then. So, this is very interesting for me because here I was way back then talking that talk about, this is really where we are in Ontario. And then we've also had some of the biggest real estate gurus on the planet who have flown into Toronto this last 10, 15 years before this really started escalating, I'll say, okay, where it's gone. And we saw them, they would be on the front page of the Toronto Star or the Globe and Mail or whatever it was. And they were saying, Canada, most undervalued real estate in the world.
Yeah, what are they saying now?
Yeah, it is. But all the signs, these signs have been here all along about really forecasting or foreshadowing where some of this was going to go. And then the ultimate question is, once we get here so rapidly, is where's the cooling off? I know everybody's asking, where's the cooling off point? Over and over and over again.
Bringing up the immigration and looking ahead and again, cooling off. This is a question I'm dying to find out. And I'm going to ask it to you. I know you don't have the answer. Nobody really has the answer, but I like to get the insights.
Yes.
Where are people getting all this money from? And how is it going to affect us in the next 5 to 10? Because, and let me sort of like preface that and say, we got people that are going into by a certain price point. Yes. And we know with the way the banks are doing things these days, you can't actually get that pre-qual until you have an APS in place, which makes it kind of difficult to get the APS because you don't really know what you could buy, but people are doing it anyways. And then they're realizing, oh my God, like I qualify here, but the house is now going for this. I got to get more money. And somehow they're getting it. And look, people have answered me and they've said, old money. They've said immigration. They've said, equity. And they've said, and again, I think they're all valid.
Yes, they are.
But I kind of go, but how many people have all that money to go and spend $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 over what that price was going for? And it's just, I guess the bigger part to this one, Joyce, is looking down the 5 to 10 years.
Yes.
Looking at what they've said for next year with the BOC and the rates and the small, the small climbs. And we can go right back to, the early 90s and say like, hey, whatever happens now, it's still cheap, right?
Yes.
But will it affect people? Right? What do we think of that?
I think you're right on with this whole conversation. Just a few of the points there. First of all, where is all the money coming from? I think you did hit on a lot of the key areas. I think certainly we know just demographically with the baby boomers, right, who are all now in their, late 60s to 70s and all through there. That has been the most affluent population. That's the old school work ethic, right? Mm-hmm. Where in fact you saved your money. The kids today, it's just like they want. But that generation, I'm certainly on the back end of that generation. That's not how we grew up. And you worked for your money and you had a respect and reverence for your money, right? And that's why they've got money. And that's why they've got what they do have. And I've asked that question myself. I'm finding out even in my own sphere of family and friends that a lot of the I would say the young adults that are in their late 20s and into their 30s, because they don't have the money, that's where they're getting the money from, is from their parents or grandparents, that the financial legacy is there for them. Regardless of, I think sometimes you get to the end of all these conversations, I always come back to the same thing. With any market, there's a depth and a breadth to it. Mm-hmm. Like there's a ceiling on everything about how high anything can ever go in the scope of how many people can afford it.
Right. That's where I'm going there, right? Like that's at some point, and we look, inflation up. Jennifer, my wife, was saying the other day, she bought a package of chicken, which she says normally $6. It's now $10. I can remember many, many years ago when gas prices went over $1. We're now sitting at the pump. There are days where you look at super and it's $1.76. I went to fill up last night. I was excited to see super at like $1.50. But we haven't seen the income.
Put the gas in your tank, right?
What's that?
You need a second job just to put the gas in your tank.
But that's where I'm going. Like at some point when you look at And I guess that's the bigger part of it, Joyce, is like looking at the prices. And then you talk about carrying costs on a monthly basis for not just the mortgage, but everything else under the sun that you got to pay for, the needs, and then the wants that we know you're gonna tap into anyways, right? The whole big question becomes the income levels are not rising at the same pace. And that's, I guess, that's just where I'm trying to dig in, because, and it's not about sky is falling or anything else or painting.
No, I agree. I don't think it's about doom and gloom, but I think it's about one word that I've used always over the years, no matter what's going on with the economy, is prudence.
Okay.
Of being prudent, right? Having a reverence for money and having an incredible appreciation for what you do have. We really do get into this, this whole mindset of what other people have versus what I have or don't have. And, comparison really is the thief of all happiness. It truly is. And, it brings us down a road of lack and not having enough, and the exact opposite mindset of what we want to move forward. And I know you talk about this a lot, and so do I, because I believe everything and every moment of every day is about your attitude. It's not about the circumstances around us, what's going on. We want to pay attention to what's going on. You want to be privy to it. You want to be watching the trends because you want to be adaptable and flexible to what's going on, be able to pivot and maneuver. But you also have to understand you cannot control the circumstances. All you can do is, of course, be in control of yourself, right? And I think this is when we talk about mental health, we talk about goal setting, we talk about all these things are all about one thing, getting you right. So regardless of what happens and where this all goes, that you can have the destiny you want to have, because I promise you this, and this is really me just talking to the individual, right? As opposed to this whole big thing that goes on, because we can get lost in it. Mm-hmm. Is that I know one thing for sure, because I saw this and I've seen it because I've lived through a few different recessions here in Canada. I saw what happened in the US, and I was in there watching it all. And that is that people who still want to do business are doing business. I watched people through recessions have some of the best years that they ever had. And I'm using that word just as a perspective, not that I'm forecasting one coming, is that your attitude is at the core of everything that goes on. That's why I say, here we are, like, this is a pivotal moment right here with you and I, David. Anybody listening, watching, this is pivotal because you get to make the decision right now for you, not what the guy sitting at the desk next to you does, or that lives down the street, or was a top producer in your office last month. I'm just talking to you. What about you? Because even anybody who went to the top started in the same place. We all start in the same place. And some of us are quick out of the gate, and some of us are a little bit slower getting going. Right?
Hey, look at Sam Walton with Walmart. Everybody believes that just happened. No, it didn't. He was pushing 50 plus before that thing became what it is.
That's it. You put the time in, you're methodical, you're consistent, you make the decision. What do you want? How do you want 2022 to turn out? How do you want to feel about it when it's done? I mean, my gosh, call me at the end of 2022 and tell me how that went for you, because you made a decision about how you were going to feel about it. The difference it was going to make for you, for your family, for your finances, for your health, every single area, every arena in your life of what you're doing, right? What matters to each and every one of us is first us. We got to get us right. You got healthy, strong, vibrant, excited about what we're doing. We're the leaders in our own household, David, aren't we? I mean, we go home at night,
You are smiling, making me smile from ear to ear right now. I was just looking at a book that I'm reading right now. I don't know if you've read it before. It's called, and I'm loving the book, the message within it. It's by Bob Proctor. Change your paradigm, change your life.
Yes.
Are you familiar with that one?
No, I haven't read it.
You're going to sit there and go, based on just what you just did there, you're going to go, I know why David just suggested it. And I mean, you're speaking my language fully, Joyce, but for everybody, and I would recommend everybody really tune into that book because it plays so well into what you just said. It talks about belief systems. It talks about the subconscious mind. It talks about, how do you really bring it to life?
That's it.
And it being a 2-letter word means a lot for each and every single one of us as individuals, right?
That's it. It's your experience, right? It's not about me. It's about you. It's about what you want, right? And it's not about comparing to what other people do because they're not you. And what you bring is very different to a buyer or seller, talking about real estate, than what another person in your office does. You've got a different personality. You've got a different skill set, right? We all can find the people, our people. I call them find your people.
Yep.
Not the people of the other people for your office. Find your people, right? Because your people who are going to resonate with you, they are out there. They're just waiting to hear from you. Some of them don't. Some of them, David, don't even know you exist.
Okay, hold on. Well, you are good. I like this.
No, isn't this the truth?
No, it's so true though. It really is so true, and it's that. Look, this is that underlying thing, though, that comes right back to fear.
Yes.
And fear will make anybody do crazy things. Fear will cause people to do the things they want most in life.
Yes.
Right? Fear is a driving factor. And the fact that these people don't know who I am, but I have a fear to put myself out there on video. I have a fear to put myself out there on social media. I have a fear to make that phone call. I have a fear to go and be the person that talks to other people. That there is going to hold you back from achieving what you want in life.
So that's it right there. And that's it. And so here's the shift. This is it. I'm here to help those people who need my help. And there's more of them out there than I even realized. I'm here to help them. And I'm going to reach out. I'm going to just share a quick little story with you here because this is a profound story that speaks to this.
I love it.
We had a young man with our company, just starting out in real estate. He got coaching from his broker. And one of the things the broker said is, I'm going to have you go out and do door knocking. This was right before COVID had hit. Okay. And this young man, they role played, but there's the trepidation of doing it. And the broker said to him, I just want you to hear this over and over and over again. There's someone on the other side of that door that just doesn't just want your help. They need your help. Okay. Like they want your help. He said, okay. And he kept telling himself that every door he went to. He was on the last part of his run that he was doing, and he hadn't really had any success, but had talked to a few people. He's going through the gauntlet that we all have to go through, right? You've got to do the work. And he knocked on this door, and this little lady answers the door, and he says this spiel, that I'm here if you're looking to buy or sell. And she goes, oh, no. She goes, I'm not, she kind of had broken English. She goes, I'm not the homeowner. She goes, but you come in. Right. And he's like, oh, well, he was very leery.
Okay, yeah.
And he goes, oh, this is what I'm hearing. She goes, no. She goes, the homeowner's inside. You come in. She wants to see you. Okay. So he says, okay. So this woman leads him into this family room. And there is the homeowner, this woman, and she's sitting there in a wheelchair. Okay. And he introduced himself and he said why he came to the door. And she looked at him with tears in her eyes. And she said, you have no idea. She goes, I have been sitting here in my living room every day praying to God to bring me an angel to my door to help me sell my home.
Oh, you just made me get shivers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amen to that one.
Wow.
Isn't it? You can't make this stuff up.
Wow. You just sent shivers through me.
Yeah.
That's
Can't
wild.
make stuff up. There are people out there. They're in a cage in their own mind, and they don't even know what they need or how they need it. And you are there to serve. You're there to help them go to places that otherwise they can't get there from here. And somehow, David, it's just you. Like whoever's listening, it's just you. Again, I can't stress this enough. There's a connection we all have in life with other people, and it's our connection of who we are and who we attract. Okay. So important to understand the value of who you are and the uniqueness of you and what you bring. You could not have been attracted to this business if there wasn't something here for you.
We brought up the role. We brought up communication and consistency. Yes. Find your people. I love the message.
Yes.
So if we look then, and we know it's a relationship business, and the story you just shared about door knocking.
Yes.
And I have been on many a stage in front of many people, and I've asked this question many times, who here likes to door knock? And there's about two hands in an audience. It doesn't matter if there's thousands of people that go out there. No. I'm like, look, I get it. You don't like to be door knocked and you don't like to door knock, but who here door knocks? Yeah. And there's a very small percentage of people who put up their hands. And usually it's about 96% of the room that doesn't do it. Mm-hmm. So you got about 4% that does. Mm-hmm. Then of those people, I say, keep your hand up if you see business from it. 99% of those people say, yes, I see business when I door knock. And your story is a perfect parallel to that. So now here's where I go with this question then. In the face of all the technology, and I keep coming back to this smartphone, which is smart, but ain't that smart. But in the face of all the technology and everything going on, even over these past number of months and just, the way the industry's been going in, I got to say, even these past 21 months aside, because you and I go to the conferences and we listen and we learn and we study and we look for the trends. We've seen a lot of the tech. We've seen a lot of it come in. But one of the biggest questions that we've got now for the industry as a whole, and I'm talking to each individual in this industry, how does each person in this industry, in the face of technology, remain relevant and prove their worth? Mm-hmm. That remuneration that you even talked about earlier. How do we continue to do that with the tech the way it is?
With tech the way it is?
And just me as an individual and you seeing value in me.
Yeah.
And not having maybe that barrier where there's the technology where all of a sudden I'm like, Joyce doesn't need my phone call. My social media is just right. Or like, she probably sees my emails. Or I spoke to her once. She must know who I am. Yeah. But drip campaigns and action plans and marketing and automation. There's a lot of good to this stuff.
You're right.
But I think there's pieces of it that have separated us now.
Well, yeah, too. And I think, I mentioned the baby boomers earlier, right. And I think that's kind of a generational thing because all the, ex-Genners and millennials, they've grown up with, the smartphone, which none of us grew up with, right? And, it's like they cut the umbilical cord and they hand them, the smartphone and off they go. And I know it's a challenge. I know it's a challenge for specifically that younger group as well, with getting comfortable with having the conversation. But yet this is the value of the relationship. And I'm gonna sum it up in one expression, and that is that people don't always remember what you did or what you said for them or to them, but they remember how you made them feel. This is amazing. There are people here that think I paid you to say a lot of this stuff today. Right?
No, I'm with you 100%. And I would even say to you, and forgive me, I completely interrupted you there. This will tie right into the professionalism in the industry, right? And the peer-to-peer communication. Right? The way we work with each other, whether you like what happened with that other person or not, remember your client wants the experience. And that's what they're going to remember.
You just said it all. That is the experience. Is how did I feel with working with the realtor that I had? And this is the whole point. Now we go down a whole nother path of the beautiful part. If you do it for the right reasons, okay? And the beautiful path of doing this for the right reasons is a relationship you build, how people feel about you, how you feel about them. And what so many agents I feel, and I know you probably harp on this as well, is they miss the opportunity in this beautiful relationship that gets created with referral business and getting those testimonials. And those have to happen while you're in the relationship, not afterwards. That drops right off your ability to get all that information and to utilize it to keep building your business. But there's nothing better, David, when you're in a conversation with somebody, you're helping them, you're going through the experience with them, they're talking to you, you're listening. Oh, that's a whole other conversation, is listening, right? Yeah. Listening. That could be a couple of hours just on that, is just listening to what they're talking about. And it's the same thing, is in that moment with how I, as a customer or client, feel about my experience with you. That's when I want to help you do more business. And when you turn to me and say, I would just love to, it would be my absolute honor and privilege to help the people that you love and care about. Tell me who in your family and friends is looking to buy or sell right now. We have so many beautiful ways of expressing that, to have that conversation with who's in front of us. But their receptivity to that is measured inside of them by how they feel about you. Okay. And this is where I've seen so many people go from a good business to a great business. Mm-hmm. It's in being present in the moment while you're with people, right? Because the hearing equation is the ears, right? I mean, mm-hmm. This is the physical mechanism as we hear, but I always say listening is something we do with our whole body and especially our heart, right? When we're with people, to really listen to them, to understand. Listening is about understanding what's going on underneath it all instead of solving the problem. Because a lot of times, now you're getting my pet peeve, is always this feeling of this need to provide a solution, solve the problem, when the majority of people, they just want to know that you understand how they're truly feeling, and the rectification of it is sometimes not even something they care about, right? That it's rectified, right? Is what is going on in the moment. And these are the things that make, from my point of view anyways, for what it's worth, the difference with people that go from good to great and then from great to exceptional, is this ability to build relationships, deeper relationships, more meaningful relationships with their clients. And I'm going to say client because I always say that a customer is somebody you deal with once, mm-hmm. but a client is someone you deal with for life. And I know, and I was on the buzz there a few times over COVID. And, one of the things I really was harping on there was about intent. What's your intention when you're dealing with anybody? And why would you ever start a relationship with anybody where the intention wasn't to deal with them for the rest of their life and every child and family member that they have? And when you bring that intention into the conversation, not literally talking about it, but about them and understanding them, this is what changes the whole dynamic of where you go with your business. Because who does the most referrals, David? Who does the most?
Well, it's the
ones who love you. They want to help you.
Right. It is shameless plug right now. I mean, on my own show, for my own show, but last episode, which I did by myself, it was a solo episode because I was speaking at an event that day, I think the title was like, "This is your sweet spot of referrals." Yes. And it very much, goes right down to the message that you just shared there about listening, about the experience, about the longevity, about the long term. And again, I love to poke. You guys know my audience. I love you guys, but I love to poke on the fact that we're not in a transactional business. Yeah. This is a relationship business. And too many agents.
I'll give an amen to that.
Yeah. Too many agents are playing the transactional game. But as we sort of keep to that topic about tech for a second, looking ahead here, and looking ahead at sort of maybe the industry over the next number of years. And again, you're going to need your crystal ball just a little bit here. But emerging tech, prop tech, what is Exit doing to adapt? And I wanted to provide that opportunity there just to share a little bit about, what are you guys up to over there? What are we doing to, stay focused on, or what are you guys focusing on? And what's the message to the agents as you guys move forward? How are you helping your realtors navigate their day-to-day? And I mean, I might have answered my own question just by having you here today, because this has been amazing, but I figured please share.
Thank you. No, we're very excited. I mean, that's really one of our big platforms is our technology. And I think you've probably met several people have Annette Anthony, who's our VP of Technology Engagement. And even her title is geared to what we do, technology engagement. And because Annette's gone around with ARIA with some of the things that that ARIA's put on over the years, and we'll all be at the upcoming Buzz. I just want to do a plug for that as well.
The Buzz Conference, Recharge 2022. Yes. Get your tickets.
Yeah, so excited for that. I think it's January 13th. So excited for that. What a great way to launch.
In person.
Yeah, woo. And I can't wait for it. So getting back to the tech here, what we always say is, we're looking at not the tech, but the people that use the tech, right? I mean, it's the people behind the technology, right? And how we use technology. Because technology doesn't do the job for us. It's something that we use as leverage, right? The systems and tools of technology. And so what are we trying to do? Be more effective, be more efficient, use our time more wisely so we can do a number of things, because it depends on who the agent is and what it is you want to accomplish. Some want more balance in their life, right? So be able to gain some of that time back, right? And some just want to do more business. So they want to use the technology, whether it's the prospecting, lead generation, whatever it happens to do. So we've got many things that we actually do here in our entire platform that all of our associates have the benefit of using with our, we've got a mobile business card. I mean, I can go on here for quite some time with all the different functionality that we have, and our texting for listings that we have. It's actually quite our sign technology where even on our exit signs, if you're driving by, you can text to the sign and automatically all that information goes directly to the prospective buyer. And of course, the agent who has the listing gets the information right away. We've got such a deep complement of technology that's all geared to one thing: driving leads to our agents, driving better quality of leads to our agents, making our agents more efficient, more effective with what they're doing. And that's what technology is supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be about taking the place of the relationship with you, with your client, right? And they should all be client. They should all be turned into clients. So no, I appreciate that. I don't want to take I'll be sitting here all talking all day.
No, I wanted to provide that opportunity though, because I know you guys are obviously doing some amazing things there. Again, with just an incredible leader at the helm of it all, there's obviously some wonderful things coming down the pipe. And I mean, when we look at the mindset, I even like the way you say that about clients and customers. And I mean, I look at the same thing too. And I know that in our world, from marketers and strategists and technology, we talk about the lead. But I also, I've got a big message to the industry and say, they're not a lead. They're a homeowner. They're a family. They're a husband, a wife, a father, a mother. There's a family there. This is a home, not just a house.
Yes.
And when we really believe that and really treat it the right way, right? We've got now the right frame of mind on our shoulders. We can now take that and provide that best experience possible. And here comes the long term.
That's it.
Right? Here comes the long term, right? And that's where success comes from.
My father, from the time I was a young girl, said, you can't apply short-term tactics to long-term goals.
It's amazing how society seems to be on that front right now about the short term, but that's another topic as well. So I got a question for you. How do you know it's been a successful day for you?
That's an easy one to answer.
Oh, see, some people, most people are like, oh man, that's a hard question.
That's a great question.
I love it. Go for it.
That's a great question. I live every day getting up, and a lot of people who know me know this, that I literally open up with gratitude, and I already am thanking who I pray to for a great day. And I actually ask for the order at the beginning of the day. Please bring to me whoever it is for me to serve today, and be able to do it wisely and effectively with the best possible outcome for that individual, right? And that's how, for me, my whole day starts that way, with that intention of serving others. This is what I live for. It's what I get up for in the morning. When I finish my day, David, and I feel like I've made a difference, even if it's just one person or one little thing. And sometimes, and I want to say this because people, they've got this idea that things are supposed to be these big, magnificent things that happen all the time. And sometimes, there's moments I've had where I've just thrown somebody a smile, and I felt the energy come back, and it almost takes my breath away, because I can feel it, the radiating off the person, that was something they needed today. Sometimes it's just the simplest things, the little things, walking in the door and telling somebody in the house that you love them, or give them a kiss, or telling them when you're leaving the door, how much you're going to miss them today. Or, I had a franchisee tell me about how, her husband puts notes in the lunch bag for their son when he goes to school, like just little notes, like little things. There's so many things we can do to make a difference in other people's lives. And for me, that's how I put my head down on the pillow at night and sleep very soundly. And I can tell you, and I do sleep soundly.
You were amazing. To all of my regular listeners and to everybody brand new, and I thank every single one of you, we're still batting 1,000. And Joyce, you don't know this, and I didn't prep you for this to begin with, but that is a question that I ask every guest at the end of the show. And, we've got some phenomenal people that we are so fortunate and grateful to be able to have on this show, including yourself. And whether they're brand new in the business, they are top tier executives, industry leaders, you name it, there's not a person that has answered that question saying anything about money or deals or any of that. It always comes back to how they help somebody else, how they serve somebody else. And so I thank you for that answer. And I mean, I know it's very sincere from your end.
Yes.
And it's just something that for me is really important to share with everybody listening and tuned in, because that right there, you want to have success. And guys, as we close out and we look at 2022, you want to have success. Yes, yes, yes. Mark down how much income you want to do and how many deals you want to do. Absolutely. Yes. But as we spend so much time talking about today, that is going to be translated through the conversations, the experience, the opportunities, the relationships you build with everybody out there. And realistically, what are you doing there? You're serving people. So you want to win in business. You want to win in personal. Go figure out how to help people. And I love and value the answer that you just provided there. And it's so in line with the way we really believe and think. So very, very cool answer. So just as we close out, what last words, tips, advice can you share with anybody? Not that the past hour hasn't been incredibly insightful, but that you would just, final closing words to share to everybody as we're sort of closing out 2021, moving into 2022, so they can get out there and, build more mind share and just help themselves get to that next level.
Well, I'll just leave you with this, is that your number one power in everything that you do every day is your power to make a new decision in every moment of your day. That is the greatest power you have, no matter what is going on in your day. It all begins with awareness, being aware of what's going on, what doesn't feel good in your body, what doesn't feel good to you, and make a decision. Once you're aware of it, you can make a decision about what you want to do, how you want to change it, where you want to go, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how little you've been in this business or how long you've been in this business. That is a power that you have within yourself every single day, right? Of making a decision for what? To get the best and the most out of yourself, what feels good for you and where you want to go, to make the decision and just make it. I'm now creating the future that I love. Just make that decision. I'm now creating the future that I love, right? And stay on that with consistency every single day. And David, if anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm always welcome. And you can use my mobile business card. You can. I was
going to ask you, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can text me to 85377 is the number, 85377. And in the part where you normally do your texting, you put my last name. It's P as in Paul, Aron. It's Paron. So text 85377, right?
Perfect.
You'll get my business card, and I'm glad to connect with anybody that would like to connect.
And I encourage you guys, if you've been tuned into this episode, you can tell just an incredibly, incredibly inspiring individual. This has been a wonderful conversation, Joyce. And I thank you sincerely for making all the time for myself and everybody tuned in today to join us on the Mindshare podcast. Thank you.
David, this has been a privilege and a pleasure. I really mean that. This is, I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be here, and you're doing such incredible work. And I thank you for that. I thank you for your service to everybody.
I thank you. I am grateful, and I can't wait to do it again.
Love to.
Thank you, Joyce. You're either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. And while you're on my site, make sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle for Realtors. This is a 31-page ebook packed with a ton of tips and tricks for you. Plus, there's a ready-to-go 90-day social media content calendar to help you build more mindshare so that you can get more market share. We also have a free goal setting guide, which is going to help you turn the invisible to visible. You can also get that right there on my homepage, mindshow101.com. It is loaded with exercises for you so that you can have an amazing 2022. And of course, if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching to help you get to your next level, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a free consultation call. We'll learn more about what you're looking to achieve and how I will help you do just that. Also, don't forget that our push to 100 is on. And all you have to do, this is super easy, is go to www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. So again, www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Super easy to leave a review. And again, thank you as always. And if you haven't yet, connect me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to once again thank Virginia Munden and the Buzz Conference for sponsoring today's episode. Make sure you connect with the Buzz Conference to get your tickets for Recharge 2022, taking place on January 13th at the Mississauga Living Arts Center. As I mentioned off the top of the show, the lineup for this one is loaded, and you are not going to want to miss it. Be sure to visit their website, www.thebuzzconference.com, and follow them on Instagram at The Buzz Conference to keep tabs on all the awesome events they are always hosting, along with getting the latest copy of the Buzz Digital Magazine. I also, of course, want to thank Kits Keep in Touch Systems for sponsoring today's episode. This is your full-on marketing tool set, complete with everything you need to build that mind share so that you can get more market share. So if you haven't checked this out yet, just go to my site, mindshow101.com, and click on marketing at the top right of the screen. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.